The candle flickered in the hallway. Shadows danced across the stone walls of Ashford Manor. Celestine stood outside the Duke's chamber. Her hands trembled. She held a silver tray with untouched tea. The cup was cold now. It had been sitting there for an hour. She needed to tell him. But how do you tell a man that his reality is a lie? The door opened before she could knock. Duke Thorne stood in the doorway. His dark hair was messy. His shirt was half unbuttoned. His eyes were gray like storm clouds. They looked tired. So tired. "Celestine," he said. His voice was low, rough. "You're still awake." She swallowed hard. "Your Grace, I need to speak with you." He stepped aside. She entered the room. It was large. Dark wood furniture, heavy curtains, a massive bed with silk sheets. The bed where he slept every night. The bed where he thought his wife slept beside him. Celestine placed the tray on a side table. Her heart pounded so hard she thought he could hear it. "What is it?" Thorne asked. He moved to the window. He stared out at the moonlit gardens. "Is something wrong with the estate?" "No, Your Grace," her voice cracked. "It's about the Duchess." His shoulders stiffened. He didn't turn around. "What about her?" Celestine's hands clasped together. She squeezed them until her knuckles turned white. "Your Grace, your wife died 3 years ago." Silence. The clock on the mantel ticked. Each second felt like an hour. Thorne turned slowly. His face was pale. His eyes searched hers. "What did you say?" "The Duchess," Celestine whispered. "She died 3 years ago. In the fire. You know this. You were there. You buried her." His jaw tightened. "That's impossible." "Your Grace, that's impossible," he said louder. "She's been here. Every night. I wake up and she's beside me. I feel her warmth. I hear her breathing. I smell her perfume." Celestine's eyes filled with tears. "Then who's been sleeping beside you?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Thorne's hand gripped the window frame. His knuckles were white. "Get out." "Your Grace, please, get out!" His voice echoed through the chamber. Celestine ran. She left the tea. She left the room. She ran down the dark hallway. Her heart was breaking. She had worked at Ashford Manor for 2 years. She had watched Duke Thorne live in a world that wasn't real. She had watched him speak to empty air. She had watched him set a place at the table for a ghost. The other servants whispered about it. They said the Duke had gone mad with grief. They said he couldn't accept that his beautiful young wife was gone. They said he created a fantasy to survive. But Celestine saw something else. She saw the way his eyes looked past things. She saw the way he reached for someone who wasn't there. She saw the way he smiled at nothing. And tonight, she couldn't stay silent anymore. She reached her small room in the servants' quarters. She closed the door. She slid down to the floor. Tears streamed down her face. She had been in love with Duke Thorne since the day she arrived at Ashford Manor. But how do you love a man who loves a ghost? Morning came too quickly. Celestine woke to the sound of roosters. She dressed in her grey uniform. She tied her dark hair back. She splashed cold water on her face. Her eyes were red from crying. She hoped no one would notice. The kitchen was busy. Cook was making breakfast. Other maids rushed around with trays and dishes. The morning sun streamed through the tall windows. "Celestine," Cook called. "Take this up to His Grace. And don't dawdle. He's been asking for you." Celestine's stomach twisted. She took the tray. Warm bread, fresh eggs, hot tea. She climbed the servants' stairs. Her legs felt heavy. She knocked on the Duke's door. "Come in," his voice said. She entered. The room looked the same, but Thorne looked different. He sat at his desk. He was fully dressed. His hair was combed. His face was clean-shaven. But his eyes looked hollow. "Set it down," he said without looking at her. She placed the tray on his desk. She turned to leave. Wait. She froze. Thorn stood. He walked around the desk. He stood in front of her. He was tall, much taller than her. She had to look up to see his face. What you said last night, he began. His voice was steady, controlled. Explain it. Celestine took a breath. Your Grace, I meant no disrespect, but the servants, we've been worried. You speak to someone who isn't there. You set a place for the Duchess at every meal. You tell us she's resting when we ask about her. But she's gone. She's been gone for 3 years. His jaw clenched. I know she's gone. Celestine blinked. You know? Of course I know. His voice was bitter. I was there. I watched the manor burn. I tried to save her. I failed. I buried her in the family cemetery. I know she's dead. Then why? Because she comes back, he said. His eyes met hers. They were filled with something dark, something desperate. Every night, when I close my eyes, when I sleep, she's there. In my bed, warm, real. She talks to me. She holds me. And when I wake, his voice broke. When I wake, she's still there. I see her. I feel her. I smell her lavender perfume. Celestine's heart ached. Your Grace, grief can make us see things that aren't. Don't, he said sharply. Don't tell me I'm mad. Don't tell me it's grief. I know what I see. But you just said you know she's dead. I do. He turned away. But that doesn't change what happens every night. Celestine stepped closer. Has anyone else seen her? He was quiet for a moment. No. Has she ever appeared during the day? No, only at night. Only when I'm in this room. Celestine looked around the chamber. The heavy curtains, the dark furniture, the bed with silk sheets. Your Grace, may I ask you something? He nodded. Do you want her to be real? His eyes closed. More than anything. And there it was. The truth. The Duke wasn't mad. He was haunted. Not by a ghost, but by his own desperate wish to undo the past. But something didn't feel right. Celestine had worked in many great houses. She had heard stories of hauntings. She had seen strange things. And something about this felt different. Your Grace, she said carefully, may I stay here tonight? In this room? His eyes flew open. What? I want to see for myself. If the Duchess appears, I'll see her too. If she doesn't, Celestine hesitated. Then we'll know for certain. Thorn stared at her. Why would you do this? Because I care about you, she thought. Because I can't watch you suffer anymore. Because I want to help, she said instead. He studied her face. His gray eyes searched hers. Finally, he nodded. Tonight, after the house is asleep. The day passed slowly. Celestine went through her duties. She cleaned rooms. She served meals. She tried not to think about the night ahead. But her mind kept racing. What if the Duchess really did appear? What if ghosts were real? What if Celestine saw something that couldn't be explained? Or worse, what if nothing happened? What if the Duke realized his mind was creating illusions? Would he break? Would he lose himself completely? As the sun set, Celestine's hands shook. She helped serve dinner. The Duke ate alone in the dining hall. A place was set across from him. An empty place. For the Duchess who wasn't there. Celestine watched from the doorway. Thorn ate in silence. But every so often, he would glance at the empty chair. His lips would move, like he was speaking to someone. Her heart twisted. After dinner, she prepared his chamber for the night. She lit candles. She turned down the bed. She placed fresh water on the nightstand. Thorn entered as she finished. "Are you certain about this?" he asked. "Yes, Your Grace." "You can sleep in the chair by the fire. I'll be in the bed. If she appears, don't make a sound. Don't let her know you're here." "Why not?" His face was pained. "Because I don't want her to leave." Celestine nodded. She understood. He was clinging to the only piece of his wife he had left, even if it was just a dream. The house grew quiet. The other servants went to bed. The candles burned low. Celestine sat in the chair. Thorn lay in the bed. He faced away from her. His breathing was slow, deep. Hours passed. Celestine's eyes grew heavy. She fought to stay awake. The fire crackled softly. The shadows danced. Then she heard it. A soft, rustling sound, like silk moving. Celestine's eyes snapped open. She looked at the bed. Thorn was asleep, but beside him, there was someone. No. Something. A figure lay beside the Duke. It had the shape of a woman. Long hair, slender frame, but it was wrong. The edges were blurry, like looking through water, and it glowed faintly, a cold, pale light. Celestine's breath caught. Her heart hammered. She wanted to scream, but she stayed silent. The figure turned. It faced Thorn. It reached out. Its hand, if it could be called a hand, touched his face. Gently, lovingly. Thorn sighed in his sleep. He smiled. The figure leaned closer. It whispered something. Celestine couldn't hear the words, but the voice, it was soft, sweet, beautiful. Celestine's mind raced. This wasn't grief. This wasn't a dream. This was something real, something impossible. Then the figure turned its head. It looked directly at Celestine. Its face was beautiful. Pale skin, dark hair, delicate features. But its eyes were empty, black, like staring into a void. Celestine's blood turned to ice. The figure smiled. It was a sad smile, a knowing smile. Then it faded, like smoke in the wind. It was gone. Celestine sat frozen. Her hands gripped the arms of the chair. Her breath came in short gasps. What was that? Thorn stirred. He sat up slowly. He looked around the room. His face was confused, disappointed. "She's gone," he whispered. Celestine found her voice. "Your Grace, I saw her." He turned sharply. "What?" "I saw her, or something. It was beside you. It touched your face. It whispered to you. Then it looked at me, and it disappeared." Thorn's eyes widened. "You saw her? You really saw her?" "I saw something. I don't know what it was." He stood. He crossed the room. He knelt in front of her chair. His face was desperate, hopeful. "Describe her, please." Celestine swallowed. She was beautiful, pale, dark hair, slender. She glowed, and her eyes, she shivered. Her eyes were empty. Thorn's face crumbled. "That's her. That's my Evangeline." But something felt wrong. The figure Celestine saw, it didn't feel like a loving spirit. It felt like something else, something hungry. "Your Grace," Celestine said carefully. "How long has she been appearing?" "Since the night she died." "Every night?" "Yes, without fail." Celestine's mind worked. Ghosts, if they were real, didn't usually appear every single night for 3 years. They faded, they moved on. Unless they were trapped, or unless they wanted something. "Your Grace, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest." He nodded. "The night your wife died, what really happened?" Thorn stood. He walked to the window. The moon was high. It cast silver light across the gardens. "It was winter," he began. His voice was distant. 3 years ago, December. The manor was decorated for Christmas. Evangeline loved Christmas. Celestine listened. She didn't move. She was young, only 22. I was 30. Our marriage was arranged, but I grew to love her. She was kind, gentle, beautiful. She made this cold house feel warm. His hands clenched into fists. But she was sad, always sad. She missed her family. She missed her home. She felt trapped here. I tried to make her happy. I gave her everything. But it wasn't enough. He turned to face Celestine. His eyes were red. One night, we argued. She wanted to leave. She wanted to go back to her father's estate. I refused. I told her she was my wife. She belonged here, with me. Celestine's chest tightened. She ran. She locked herself in the east wing. I followed her. I pounded on the door. I told her to stop being foolish. I told her she was overreacting. His voice broke. Then I smelled smoke. "The fire," Celestine whispered. Yes, the curtains had caught. The flame spread so fast. I tried to break down the door. I screamed her name. I could hear her crying inside, but the door wouldn't break. By the time the servants brought an axe, it was too late. The whole wing was engulfed. Tears streamed down his face. We found her body in the rubble, burned, barely recognizable. I killed her, Celestine. I trapped her in that room, and she burned because of me. Celestine stood. She crossed the room. She stopped in front of him. "It was an accident, Your Grace." "Was it?" His voice was bitter. "I locked her in. I wouldn't let her leave, and she died because of it. You didn't start the fire, but I didn't save her either." They stood in silence. The weight of his guilt hung heavy in the air. Celestine finally understood. The figure in his bed wasn't just Evangeline's ghost. It was Thorne's punishment. His mind, or something darker, was keeping her here, tying her to him, because he couldn't forgive himself. "Your Grace," Celestine said softly, "has the Duchess ever said anything to you? In your dreams?" He hesitated. "Yes." "What does she say?" "She tells me she forgives me. She tells me she loves me. She tells me to let go." His voice cracked. "But I can't." There it was, the answer. Evangeline's spirit was trying to move on, but Thorne wouldn't let her. His grief, his guilt, his love, it was holding her here, trapping her, just like he trapped her the night she died. "Your Grace," Celestine said, "you have to let her go." His eyes met hers. "I can't. You have to, for her sake, for your sake. If I let her go, I have nothing left." Celestine's heart broke. She reached out. She placed her hand on his arm. "That's not true." He looked down at her hand, then at her face. "You don't understand." "I do." Her voice was firm. "I understand grief. I understand guilt. I lost my family to illness when I was 16. I blamed myself for surviving. I thought I didn't deserve to be happy. But holding on to that pain didn't bring them back. It just made me a ghost too." Thorne's eyes softened. "You're not living, Your Grace. You're haunting your own life, and so is she. You both deserve peace." For a long moment he said nothing. Then he stepped back. His face was unreadable. "I need to think. Alone. You should go." Celestine nodded. She left the chamber. But as she walked down the dark hallway, she knew one thing for certain. She had to find out more about Evangeline's death, because something still felt wrong. The next morning, Celestine went to the library. Ashford Manor had kept records for generations. Birth records, marriage records, Death records. She found the entry for Evangeline, Duchess of Ashford, died December 15th. Cause: fire. But there was something else. A note in the margin, written in faded ink. Suspected foul play. Investigation abandoned. Celestine's blood ran cold. Foul play? She dug deeper. She found old newspapers from the nearby town. She read about the fire, about the Duke's grief, about the funeral. But one article stood out. It was small, tucked in the back pages. Servants report strange occurrences at Ashford Manor. Doors locking on their own. Fires starting without cause. Whispers in empty rooms. Local priest refuses to bless the estate. Celestine's hands trembled. This wasn't just grief. This was something darker. She needed help. She left the library. She found Mrs. Hartwell, the head housekeeper. The old woman had worked at Ashford for 40 years. "Mrs. Hartwell," Celestine said, "I need to ask you about the Duchess." The old woman's face paled. "What about her?" "The night she died. Were you here?" Mrs. Hartwell glanced around. She pulled Celestine into an empty room. She closed the door. "Yes," she whispered. "I was here." "What really happened?" The old woman's hands shook. "The Duke isn't telling the whole truth." Celestine leaned closer. "What do you mean?" "The Duchess, she didn't want to be here. She was frightened. She told me things she shouldn't have said." "What things?" Mrs. Hartwell's eyes filled with tears. "She said someone was watching her, someone in the manor. She said she saw a figure in the hallways, a dark figure. She said it whispered to her at night." Celestine's stomach dropped. "Did she tell the Duke?" "Yes, but he didn't believe her. He thought she was being dramatic. He told her it was just shadows, just old house noises." "And the night of the fire?" Mrs. Hartwell wiped her eyes. "The Duchess locked herself in the East Wing, but not because of the argument. She ran there because she was being chased." "Chased? By who?" "She didn't say. She just screamed for help. Then the fire started. So fast, too fast. It was like someone wanted her to burn." Celestine's mind raced. "Do you think someone killed her?" "I don't know. But I know this. The Duke has been different since that night. He's not the same man. It's like something took a piece of him. And whatever visits him at night, I don't think it's his wife." Celestine felt cold. "What do you think it is?" Mrs. Hartwell looked at her with fearful eyes. "I think something evil lives in this house, and it's been feeding on the Duke's grief." Celestine spent the rest of the day thinking. If Mrs. Hartwell was right, then the figure in Thorne's bed wasn't Evangeline. It was something pretending to be her. Something that wanted to keep the Duke trapped, suffering, alone. But why? And how could she prove it? That night she returned to Thorne's chamber. He was sitting by the fire. He looked exhausted. His eyes were hollow. "You came back," he said. "I need to tell you something, Your Grace, and you're not going to like it." He gestured for her to sit. She took the chair across from him. "I've been investigating," she began. "Your wife's death, the fire, the things that happened before." His jaw tightened. "Why?" "Because I don't think the figure you see at night is your wife." His face turned dark. "Don't. Your Grace, please listen. Your wife was frightened before she died. She saw things. She heard things. She told Mrs. Hartwell that someone was chasing her the night of the fire. Mrs. Hartwell is old. She's confused." "She's not confused, and neither am I. I saw that figure last night. It didn't feel like a loving spirit. It felt like something else. Something wrong." Thorne stood. His fists clenched. You have no right to say these things. I have every right, because I care about you. The words hung in the air. Thorn froze. He stared at her. What? Celestine stood. Her heart pounded. She was crossing a line, but she didn't care anymore. I care about you, Your Grace. I have since the day I arrived. I've watched you suffer. I've watched you waste away. And I can't stay silent anymore. That thing in your bed is not your wife. It's keeping you prisoner, and if you don't fight it, it will destroy you. His face was a storm of emotions: anger, confusion, pain. You don't know what you're talking about. Then prove me wrong. Tonight, when it appears. Ask it something only your wife would know. Test it. No. Why not? If it's really her, she'll answer correctly. If it's not... Celestine stepped closer. Then you'll know the truth. Thorn's breath was heavy. His eyes searched hers. And if you're right, if it's not her, then I've lost her all over again. No, Celestine said softly. You'll finally be free to let her go. For a long moment he said nothing. Then he nodded. Fine. Tonight. You'll stay again. And we'll see. Midnight came. Celestine sat in the chair by the fire. Thorn lay in bed. The room was dark except for the dying embers. They waited. Minutes felt like hours. Then the air grew cold. Unnaturally cold. Celestine's breath came out in white puffs. The rustling sound began. Silk moving, soft footsteps. The figure appeared. It formed beside Thorn like mist becoming solid. The same pale glow, the same beautiful face, the same empty eyes. Thorn sat up. He looked at the figure. His face was cautious, guarded. Evangeline, he said. The figure smiled. My love. I need to ask you something. The figure tilted its head. Anything. Thorn took a breath. What did you give me on our wedding night? Celestine held her breath. The figure was silent. Its smile didn't waver. My heart. No, Thorn said. What object, what gift? The figure's face flickered, just for a moment. I don't remember. You gave me a handkerchief, embroidered with our initials. You said it would bring me luck. The figure's eyes went darker. Yes, of course. The handkerchief. It had a blue border, didn't it? Another pause. Yes, blue. Thorn's face hardened. It was red. You're not her. The figure's smile vanished. Its face twisted. The beautiful features melted away. What remained was something terrible. A hollow face, black eyes, a mouth that opened too wide. Clever, it hissed. Its voice was no longer sweet. It was cold, sharp, like breaking glass. Celestine jumped from her chair. Thorn scrambled back. The figure grew. It expanded. It filled the room with darkness. Shadows crawled across the walls. You've kept me alive, it snarled at Thorn. Your grief, your guilt, your desperate love. It's been feeding me for 3 years. And now you want to take that away? What are you? Thorn demanded. I am everything you can't let go. I am your punishment, your prison, and you invited me in. Celestine's mind raced. She remembered stories her grandmother told her. Stories of spirits that fed on emotion, that attached themselves to people drowning in sorrow. You're a parasite, she said. The thing turned to her. Its black eyes focused on her. And you're trying to take my food away. It lunged. Celestine screamed, but Thorn was faster. He threw himself between them. The thing's shadowy hand struck him. He fell to the floor. No! Celestine ran to him. She helped him up. His shirt was torn. His skin was cold where the thing touched him. The creature circled them. You can't fight me. I'm part of him now. I'm in his blood, his bones, his soul. You're nothing, Celestine said. Her voice was steady even though she was terrified. You're a lie, a shadow, and shadows disappear in the light. The thing laughed. There is no light here, only darkness, only grief. Celestine looked at Thorn. His face was pale, weak. The thing was right. It had been feeding on him for so long it was draining his life. She had to do something. She grabbed Thorn's face. She forced him to look at her. Your Grace, listen to me. You didn't kill your wife. It was an accident, a terrible, tragic accident. But you have to forgive yourself. You have to let go. I can't, he whispered. You can, and you have to, right now, or this thing will kill you. His eyes filled with tears. I loved her. I know, but she's gone, and she would want you to live. She would want you to be happy. The creature shrieked. No, don't listen to her. Celestine gripped Thorn's shoulders. Say it. Say you forgive yourself. Say you let her go. Thorn's breath shook. His whole body trembled. I forgive myself. The creature wailed. The shadows flickered. Say it like you mean it, Celestine urged. Thorn closed his eyes. Tears streamed down his face. I forgive myself. I let you go, Evangeline. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But I let you go. The creature screamed. The sound was deafening. The shadows exploded outward. The cold vanished. The room filled with warm light. And then it was gone. The figure, the darkness, the cold, all of it, gone. Thorn collapsed. Celestine caught him. They sank to the floor together. He sobbed into her shoulder, great, heaving sobs. 3 years of grief pouring out. Celestine held him. She stroked his hair. She whispered soft words. It's over. You're free. You're safe. They stayed like that until dawn broke through the windows. The days that followed were strange. Ashford Manor felt different, lighter. The shadows didn't seem so dark. The halls didn't feel so cold. Thorn was different too. He was quiet, withdrawn, but not in the same way. Before, he was trapped in grief. Now, he was simply tired, exhausted from carrying a burden for so long. Celestine gave him space. She went about her duties, but every time she passed him in the hallways, their eyes would meet, and something would pass between them, something unspoken. 1 week after the creature was banished, Thorn called for her. She entered his study. He stood by the window, the same window where he'd confessed his guilt. Celestine, he said, sit, please. She sat in the chair across from his desk, her hands folded in her lap. He turned to face her. He looked better. His color had returned. His eyes were clear. I owe you my life. You owe me nothing, Your Grace. Don't call me that. Not when we're alone. Call me Thorn. Her heart skipped. That wouldn't be proper. Proper? A small smile touched his lips, the first real smile she'd seen. You saved me from a demon. I think we're beyond proper. Celestine's cheeks flushed. I did what anyone would have done. No, you did what no one else could do. You saw the truth. You fought for me. You made me face the thing I was most afraid of. He crossed to her. He knelt in front of her chair, just like he had that first night. You made me let go. His hands reached for hers. He held them gently. His touch was warm, real, alive. I spent 3 years loving a ghost, he said quietly. I forgot what it was like to feel, to hope, to want to wake up in the morning. His gray eyes met hers. You reminded me. Celestine's breath caught. Your Grace, Thorn, you're grieving. You're vulnerable. You shouldn't. I shouldn't what? Tell the truth? His grip tightened. I care about you, Celestine. I don't know when it started. Maybe it was the night you first challenged me. Maybe it was when you stayed in this room to prove I wasn't mad. Maybe it was when you held me while I cried. But it's there, and I can't ignore it. Tears pricked her eyes. I'm a maid. You're a duke. This is impossible. So was fighting a demon. Yet we did it. She laughed. It was a broken, watery sound. You're being foolish. Maybe. But I've been foolish for a long time. At least this time, I'm being foolish for the right reason. Celestine pulled her hands away. She stood. She walked to the window. Her mind was spinning. What are you asking me? I'm asking if you feel the same. Did she? Yes. God, yes. She'd loved him from afar for so long. She'd watched him suffer and wished she could take his pain away. And now he was here, free, asking if she felt the same. But it was impossible. Dukes didn't marry maids. It didn't happen. It couldn't happen. It doesn't matter what I feel, she said. Her voice was barely a whisper. It's the only thing that matters. She turned to face him. He stood now, tall, strong, looking at her like she was the only thing in the world. The world won't allow it, she said. Then we'll change the world. You don't know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. He crossed to her. He stopped inches away. She could feel the heat of his body, smell the scent of him, soap and wood smoke. I'm saying I want to live again, and I want to live with you. Celestine's resolve crumbled. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I do feel the same. I've loved you for so long, but I'm terrified. Of what? Of losing you, of this being another dream. Thorn reached up. He cupped her face with his hands. His thumbs wiped away her tears. This is real. I'm real. And I'm not going anywhere. Then he kissed her. It was soft, gentle, nothing like the desperate, haunted man he'd been. This was a man reborn, a man learning to feel again. Celestine kissed him back. Her hands gripped his shirt. She poured every unspoken word into that kiss. Every moment she'd watched him from afar. Every time she'd wished she could hold him. When they finally pulled apart, they were both breathless. What happens now? She whispered. Thorn smiled. Now we figure it out, together. But the world didn't change overnight. News of the Duke's interest in a maid spread through the manor like wildfire. The servants whispered. Some were happy for Celestine, others were jealous. A few were outright hostile. She's bewitched him, one maid hissed in the kitchen. First he loses his mind over a ghost. Now he's chasing a servant girl. The Duke has gone mad. Celestine ignored them. She had work to do, but it stung. She'd lived her whole life invisible, and now she was the center of attention. It was uncomfortable. Worse than the servants were the nobles. Thorn's family arrived within the week. His uncle, Lord Ashford, his cousin, Lady Margot. They came under the pretense of checking on him, but Celestine knew the truth. They'd heard rumors. They wanted to stop whatever was happening. Celestine served tea in the parlor. She kept her head down. She tried to be invisible again. Thorn, Lord Ashford said. His voice was cold, sharp. We hear you've taken an interest in one of the staff. Thorn's jaw tightened. My personal life is my own concern. Not when it affects the family name. Lady Margot leaned forward. She was beautiful, elegant, everything a noblewoman should be. You're the Duke of Ashford. You have responsibilities, a legacy to uphold. You can't throw it all away for a nobody. Celestine's hands shook. She set the teapot down carefully. Careful, Margot, Thorn said. His voice was dangerous. You're speaking about the woman I intend to marry. The room went silent. Celestine's head snapped up. She stared at Thorn. He hadn't said anything about marriage. Lord Ashford stood. His face was red. You can't be serious. I'm perfectly serious. The family will never allow it. The Queen will never allow it. You'll be a laughingstock. I don't care. You should. Lady Margot's eyes were cold. You have a duty. To your name. To your title. To your late wife's memory. That hit a nerve. Thorne's face went pale. Don't speak of Evangeline. Why not? She was a proper duchess, refined, educated, from a good family, and you're going to replace her with a maid. Celestine couldn't take it anymore. Excuse me. She left the room. She walked quickly down the hallway, her eyes burned with tears. She heard footsteps behind her. Celestine, wait! She didn't stop. She couldn't. She needed air. She needed space. Thorne caught her arm. He turned her to face him. Don't listen to them. They're right, she said. I'm nobody. You deserve someone like Evangeline. Someone who fits your world. I don't want someone who fits my world. I want you. You say that now. But what happens when the rest of society turns their backs on you? When your friends won't speak to you? When your family disowns you? Then I'll have you. And that's enough. Celestine shook her head. You don't understand what you're giving up. Yes, I do. I'm giving up a hollow life. A life of expectations and appearances. A life where I was dying inside. He gripped her shoulders. You saved me, Celestine. You gave me a reason to live. I'm not giving that up. I'm not giving you up. Thorne, I love you. The words hung in the air. Simple, direct, true. Celestine's breath caught. You... what? I love you. I should have said it sooner, but I'm saying it now. I love you. And I want to marry you. If you'll have me. Tears streamed down her face. You're insane. He smiled. Probably, but I've been insane before. At least this time it's for something real. Celestine laughed through her tears. I love you too. God help me. I love you too. He pulled her close. He kissed her, right there in the hallway, where anyone could see. And Celestine stopped caring about the world, because Thorne was her world now. The engagement was announced the next day. It caused chaos. Nobles came to the manor demanding Thorne reconsider. Letters poured in from society members. Some were outraged, others were curious. A few were supportive, but the majority thought Thorne had lost his mind. He's still grieving, they said. He's not thinking clearly. Someone should stop him. Celestine wanted to run, to disappear, to save Thorne from the scandal, but he wouldn't let her. We're in this together, he said, no matter what happens. The Queen herself sent a letter. It was polite but firm. She requested Thorne reconsider. She reminded him of his duty. She suggested he take time to think. Thorne wrote back. He thanked her for her concern. Then he politely told her he was marrying Celestine, with or without her blessing. The nobles were furious. Lord Ashford threatened to challenge Thorne's right to the title. Lady Margot spread rumors that Celestine had used witchcraft. But Thorne didn't waver. He stood firm. And slowly, the tide began to turn. Some of the younger nobles thought it was romantic. A duke marrying for love instead of duty. It was scandalous, exciting, revolutionary. A few older nobles, ones who had known Thorne since childhood, came to his defense. The boy has been through hell, one said. Let him have some happiness. And the servants of Ashford Manor, once divided, began to rally around Celestine. They saw how happy the Duke was. They saw how the darkness had lifted from the estate. They saw that love, real love, was worth fighting for. Mrs. Hartwell was the first to congratulate them. About time, girl, she said with a smile. I've seen the way you looked at him, and the way he looked at you. It's real. Don't let anyone tell you different. Celestine hugged the old woman. Thank you. No, dear, thank you. You saved him. You saved us all. 3 months later, Celestine stood in front of a mirror. She wore a simple white dress, nothing extravagant, nothing showy, just beautiful. Mrs. Hartwell adjusted the veil. You look perfect. Celestine's hands trembled. I'm terrified. Of what? Of waking up, of this being another dream. The old woman smiled. It's not a dream, child. This is real, and you deserve every bit of it. The ceremony was small, held in the chapel on the estate. Only close friends and a handful of servants attended. No grand nobles, no royal representatives, just the people who truly cared. Thorn stood at the altar. He wore a dark suit. His hair was combed. His face was clean-shaven. But his eyes, his beautiful grey eyes, were what took Celestine's breath away. They were clear, bright, alive. She walked down the aisle, her heart pounded with every step. But when she reached him, when he took her hand, all her fear melted away. The priest spoke, but Celestine barely heard the words. She was too focused on Thorn, on the way he looked at her, like she was the most precious thing in the world. I do, she whispered when the time came. I do, he said. And then they were married. Thorn kissed her. It was soft, sweet, perfect. The small crowd clapped. Celestine laughed. Thorn grinned. And for the first time in 3 years, Ashford Manor felt like a home. But that night, something happened. Celestine and Thorn retired to the Duke's chamber. It was their wedding night. The room had been cleaned. Fresh flowers were placed on every surface. The bed was made with new silk sheets. They stood by the window. Thorn's arms wrapped around Celestine from behind. They looked out at the moonlit gardens. Are you happy? He asked. More than I ever thought possible, she said. He kissed her neck. Good. Then the air grew cold. Celestine stiffened. Thorn. He felt it too, the unnatural chill, the familiar feeling. They turned. A figure stood in the corner, but this time it was different. It wasn't the shadowy creature. It was clear, solid, beautiful. It was Evangeline. Celestine's breath caught. Thorn's grip on her tightened. The Duchess looked exactly as she had in the portrait that hung in the gallery. Young, radiant, kind. Her eyes, her real eyes, were brown, warm, filled with sadness. Evangeline, Thorn whispered. The ghost smiled. It was a genuine smile, sad but peaceful. Hello, Thorn. I don't understand. We banished the creature. You're supposed to be at rest. I am at rest, she said softly. This isn't like before. I'm not trapped. I chose to come. One last time. Why? Evangeline's gaze shifted to Celestine. To meet her. The woman who saved you. The woman you love. Celestine's heart pounded. Your Grace. Please, don't call me that. I'm no longer a duchess. I'm just a memory. Evangeline stepped closer. She looked at Celestine with gentle eyes. Thank you. For what? For giving him what I couldn't. Peace, happiness, a future. Her voice was thick with emotion. I loved Thorn, but our love was built on duty, on expectation. It wasn't meant to last. But yours, she smiled, yours is real, born from choice, from sacrifice, from truth. Tears streamed down Celestine's face. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you didn't get to live, to be happy. Evangeline shook her head. Don't be sorry. What happened to me was tragic, but it wasn't your fault. It wasn't even Thorn's fault. It was just fate. And now I can move on, because I know he's in good hands. She turned to Thorn. Forgive yourself, truly. Not just because the creature is gone, but because I forgive you. I forgave you the moment I died. I never blamed you. Thorn's voice broke. Evangeline. Be happy, Thorn. Live. Love. Don't waste another moment. She began to fade. Her form became translucent, like mist in sunlight. Wait, Thorn said. Will I see you again? Evangeline smiled. No, and that's how it should be. Goodbye, my friend. And then she was gone. The room was warm again. The cold vanished. The air felt lighter. Celestine turned to Thorn. His face was wet with tears, but he was smiling. She's really gone, he said. Yes. She's at peace. Yes. He pulled Celestine close. He buried his face in her hair. Thank you. For everything. Celestine held him. We saved each other. And that was the truth. Thorn had been drowning in grief. Celestine had been invisible in life. But together, they found something neither thought possible. They found love. Real, honest, beautiful love. Months passed. Life at Ashford Manor changed completely. Thorn reopened the East Wing. The burned section was rebuilt. It became a library, a place of learning and light. A tribute to Evangeline, but not a shrine. A celebration of life instead of a monument to death. Celestine adjusted to her new role as Duchess. It wasn't easy. Society still whispered, but slowly they accepted her. Because she was kind. Because she was genuine. Because she made Thorn happy. And the people of the estate loved her. She knew their names, their struggles. She helped where she could. She treated everyone with respect. Thorn was a different man. He laughed now. He smiled. He engaged with his responsibilities instead of hiding from them. He was present, alive. One evening, they walked through the gardens. Spring had arrived. Flowers bloomed everywhere. The air was sweet. Do you miss your old life? Thorn asked. Before all this? Celestine thought about it. Her tiny room in the servants' quarters, her simple routine, her invisibility. No, she said honestly. I don't. Not even a little. Maybe I miss the simplicity sometimes, but not the loneliness. She squeezed his hand. I was alone before, even surrounded by people. Now I have you, and that's worth everything. Thorn stopped walking. He turned to face her. The setting sun cast golden light across his face. I have something to tell you. Her heart skipped. What? He smiled, a nervous, excited smile. You're going to be a mother. Celestine's breath caught. What? The doctor confirmed it this afternoon. You're with child. Tears filled her eyes. Are you sure? Yes. He pulled her close. We're having a baby. Celestine laughed. She cried. She held him tight. I can't believe it. Believe it. Our family is growing. A baby. A new life. A symbol of everything they'd overcome. What if I'm not ready? Celestine whispered. What if I don't know how to be a mother? Thorn cupped her face. Then we'll figure it out. Together. Like we always do. But happiness is never without trials. 6 months into Celestine's pregnancy, something strange began happening. She started having dreams. Not nightmares, but vivid, clear dreams. In them she saw a woman. The woman was older, elegant. She wore old-fashioned clothes. Who are you? Celestine would ask. The woman would smile. A friend, a protector, a witness. A witness to what? To the truth. Celestine would wake, confused. She told Thorn about the dreams. He was concerned. Maybe it's just pregnancy. Women have strange dreams when they're carrying a child. But Celestine wasn't convinced. The dreams felt too real, too specific. One night, the woman spoke differently. "Go to the cemetery, to Evangeline's grave. There's something you need to see." Celestine woke with a start. Her heart pounded. She looked at Thorn. He was asleep beside her, peaceful. She slipped out of bed. She dressed quietly. She left the manor. The cemetery was on the edge of the estate. It was surrounded by iron gates. Old stone markers dotted the landscape. Celestine found Evangeline's grave easily. It was the newest. The stone was white marble, simple but elegant. She stood in front of it. The moon cast silver light across the ground. "That am I supposed to see?" she whispered. Then she noticed something. The ground in front of the grave was disturbed, like something had been dug up recently. Celestine knelt. She brushed away loose dirt. Her fingers touched something hard. Metal. She dug carefully. She pulled out a small metal box. It was locked. She brought it back to the manor. She woke Thorn. "Look at this." He examined the box. He recognized it. This was Evangeline's. She kept private things in it. "Can you open it?" He found a key in his desk. He opened the box. Inside was a letter, addressed to Thorn, in Evangeline's handwriting. He unfolded it with shaking hands. He read aloud. "My dearest Thorn, if you're reading this, then I'm gone, and I need you to know the truth. I didn't die by accident. The fire was set deliberately by someone in the manor, someone who wanted me gone. I discovered something terrible, about the Ashford family, about your uncle. He's been stealing from the estate, embezzling funds for years. I found the records. I confronted him. He threatened me. He said if I told you, he would ruin you, ruin the family name. I was going to tell you anyway, but before I could, the fire started. I don't know if he set it, or if he paid someone to do it, but I know it wasn't an accident. I'm writing this letter and hiding it in case something happens to me. I want you to know the truth. I love you, Thorn. I always will, but don't let my death destroy you. Live, be happy, find love again, and stop whoever did this. Make them pay. Yours always, Evangeline." Silence filled the room. Thorn's face was white. His hands trembled. "My uncle. He killed her." Celestine's mind raced. "The creature. It fed on your guilt. But your guilt was built on a lie. You didn't trap her. Your uncle did." Thorn stood. Rage filled his eyes. "Where is he?" "Your Grace, wait. We need proof. We need—" But Thorn was already gone. He stormed out of the room. Celestine followed. She was 6 months pregnant. Her belly was round. She couldn't move as fast. "Thorn, please!" He went straight to the guest wing, where Lord Ashford was staying. He pounded on the door. "Open this door!" Lord Ashford opened it. He wore a nightshirt. His face was annoyed. "What on earth?" Thorn grabbed him by the collar. He shoved him against the wall. "You killed her!" Lord Ashford's face went pale. "What?" "Evangeline, you killed her, because she found out about your embezzling." "You're mad. Let me go." "I have her letter. She knew. She was going to expose you. So you set the fire." Lord Ashford's expression changed. The false innocence fell away. His eyes went cold. "She was going to ruin everything. I built this estate. I managed the finances while your father was alive. And you? You were just a foolish boy. You didn't deserve it." Thorn's fist connected with his uncle's face. The older man fell. Celestine reached the room. "Thorn, stop!" But Thorn didn't stop. He hit his uncle again, and again. Years of grief and guilt and rage poured out. Lord Ashford fought back. He was older but strong. They grappled. They fell. A gunshot rang out. Everyone froze. Lady Margot stood in the doorway. She held a pistol. She pointed it at Thorn. Enough! Celestine's blood turned to ice. Margot, what are you doing? Protecting my father, protecting our family. You've ruined everything. Her eyes were wild. Father was right. Evangeline was going to destroy us, and now you're doing the same. Marrying a maid, having a bastard child. You're a disgrace. That child is not a bastard, Thorn said. His voice was deadly. And you will not speak to my wife that way. Margot laughed, a bitter, broken sound. Your wife, a servant playing Duchess. It's pathetic. She cocked the pistol. She aimed at Celestine. Maybe if you lose this one too, you'll finally learn your lesson. Time slowed. Thorn moved. He threw himself in front of Celestine. The gun fired. Thorn fell. Celestine screamed. She caught him. They collapsed together. Servants rushed in. They tackled Margot. They wrestled the gun away. Celestine cradled Thorn's head. Blood spread across his shirt. No, 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 no. Thorn, stay with me. His eyes were open, fading. Celestine, don't you dare leave me. I love you, he whispered. You and our child. I love you. I love you too, but you're not dying. You're not. The doctor arrived. He examined Thorn. The bullet had struck his shoulder. It missed his heart, missed anything vital. He'll live, the doctor said, but he needs surgery. Now. They carried Thorn to his bed. The doctor worked for hours. Celestine sat beside him. She held his hand. She prayed. Finally, the doctor emerged. He'll recover. He's strong. Lucky. Celestine sobbed with relief. Lord Ashford and Lady Margot were arrested. The letter was evidence. Witnesses came forward. Servants who had seen strange things the night of the fire. A stable boy who saw Lord Ashford near the east wing before the flames started. The trial was quick. Both were found guilty. Lord Ashford was sentenced to life in prison. Lady Margot was sentenced to 10 years. The scandal rocked society, but this time, sympathy was on Thorn's side. He was the victim, the hero, the Duke who survived tragedy and found love. Thorn recovered slowly. His shoulder healed, his strength returned, and through it all, Celestine was by his side. 3 months later, she gave birth, a healthy baby girl. They named her Evangeline, after the woman who saved them, who revealed the truth, who set them free. Thorn held his daughter for the first time. Tears streamed down his face. She's perfect. Celestine smiled. She has your eyes and your strength. They sat together in the nursery. The baby slept peacefully. Sunlight streamed through the windows. Do you ever think about how we got here? Celestine asked. How strange it all is. Every day, Thorn said. A ghost led me to you. A creature of darkness tried to destroy me, and you saved me. It's the strangest love story ever told. But it's ours. Yes, it's ours. Little Evangeline stirred. She opened her eyes. They were grey, just like her father's. She looked up at her parents, and she smiled. In that moment, everything made sense. All the pain, all the fear, all the struggle. It led to this. To love, to family, to peace. Ashford Manor was finally a home, not haunted by ghosts, not trapped in grief, but alive with laughter and hope. And in the cemetery, at Evangeline's grave, something changed. The air felt lighter. The stones seemed to glow in the sunlight, because the Duchess was finally at peace. Her truth was known, her death was avenged, and the man she once loved was happy. That was all she ever wanted. 10 years passed. Ashford Manor was filled with life. Thorn and Celestine had 3 children. Little Evangeline was now 10. She had 2 younger brothers. The manor echoed with their laughter. Celestine stood in the garden. She was older now. Lines touched the corners of her eyes, but she was beautiful, radiant, happy. Thorn joined her. His hair had threads of grey, but his eyes were bright, clear, alive. "Do you remember the night we met?" he asked. "When I told you your wife was dead?" "Yes, the worst and best night of my life," Celestine laughed. "You thought I was insane. I thought you were brave, terrifying, and brave." They watched their children play. Evangeline chased her brothers through the flowers. They shrieked with joy. "Do you think she knows?" Celestine asked. "The real Evangeline. Do you think she sees this?" Thorn was quiet for a moment. "I think she does, and I think she's happy for us. I hope so. I know so." He pulled Celestine close. "She brought us together, in the strangest way possible, but she brought us together." Celestine rested her head on his shoulder. "I love you. I love you too, always." The sun set over Ashford Manor. Golden light bathed the gardens. The children's laughter filled the air. And somewhere, in the space between life and death, a duchess smiled. Because love, real love, never dies. It just transforms. It finds new homes, new hearts. And in the end, that's all that matters.